I'm Lily. I studied education and psychology and I graduated last July, so 2022. I'm currently on a 2-year graduate programme with Northumbria Police. I joined the police in March after being a student social worker for 6 months. I was initially in police training school for 17 weeks, where you learn the fundamentals of policing, which is taught by both police training staff and academics. I'm now 2 weeks out of training school and I've completed 6 shifts as a response police officer. Response police officers are generally first on the scene and directed to jobs from the control room, who respond to calls from the public. I'd say the role must be one of the most dynamic and multifaceted out there. I didn't realise how much there was to it before I joined. That the sorts of jobs police might be called to include like domestics, missing person cases, your common crimes like your assaults, your theft, your burglaries, individuals who are proven a danger to themselves, and sudden deaths. Or you might deal with outstanding crimes or hand over packages, which might involve tasks such as like taking statements, interviewing and kind of gathering CCTV. So there really is so much variation. Like the police do they cover a whole spectrum of things, from like your more physical tasks to kind of assisting like vulnerable people. So you essentially can't anticipate how the day is going to pan out. You could go to like multiple jobs in a day, or like one job might consume your entire shift. It just kind of all depends on the demand for that day. The majority of time you work in pairs, obviously kind of for your safety. And it helps kind of speed things up, and it's just reassuring to have someone else there to help kind of make decisions and kind of get a second opinion. So I'll be doing a total of 12 weeks on response before I move into CID, which is the Criminal Investigation Department. I applied to become a detective, but kind of in order to become a detective, it's a requirement to undertake operational police duties first before you can progress on to CID. So in CID, it is more like desk-based. You're focused on building on initial police investigations, so gathering evidence and preparing files for court. So you deal with volume and priority investigations. Then as you gain experience, you'll move on to more kind of complex and serious crime. I suppose like in the police, like whatever kind of role you're involved in, there's always opportunity to learn and develop skills, because every day you're dealing with something different, which is obviously quite exciting, and there's like a great deal of learning you can gain from it, which definitely appeals to me. I think everyone can agree that studying any sort of degree at Cambridge is intense and obviously requires serious dedication and discipline. I've definitely seen this sort of transfer over into the job, and sort of where I've struggled with aspects of the training, for example. I feel I've been able to persist, and that's what like the analytical skills and attention to detail you kind of gain from essay writing. Obviously, this feeds into like the investigative mindset. That's obviously critical for detectives to have. Helps you to obviously explore all options and think about if anything doesn't add up, is anything missing, and kind of what you can kind of bring to investigation, what avenues to go down. I feel like my ability to like complete written tasks such as taking statements, and completing important documents to a high standard, obviously have been improved by kind of studying education and all sort of the written skills you gain. I suppose in terms of like psychology, sort of my understanding of people and awareness of behaviour, I think that's really important to kind of aid your interactions and communication with a variety of individuals. For example, just kind of explaining processes to individuals with sort of limited education, or you might kind of have to explain how a case is progressing to your superiors, so it's being able to kind of adapt depending on who you're talking to. And I suppose kind of with education especially, there's like a lot of independence throughout your degree, so you've obviously got to be able to kind of use your intuition, and kind of which helps in the police to kind of help assess situations, kind of come to your own conclusions, not just rely on like your superiors or kind of other colleagues. Is, you can trust yourself to kind of make those sort of more difficult decisions. I think you've just got to know that like studying at Cambridge, and especially like a degree such as education, which is quite broad, and you gain like a load of skills from. Like the world's your oyster, really. There's so many different careers out there. It's definitely worth kind of taking the time to do your research and explore all possible options available. Um, and don't rule out things immediately that you don't think necessarily relate to your degree, or if you kind of doubt whether you're kind of what the employee is looking for. It's definitely always worth a shot and worth like putting an application in if you think that might appeal to you. And like think about what you'll enjoy and what's going to challenge you. Don't just be sort of forced into something because it might be like typical of a Cambridge graduate or because other people are doing it. And obviously nothing's set in stone, so there's always kind of scope to kind of change or like progress in a career. Like I started out in social work, and then I sort of realised it wasn't quite for me, so I joined the police instead. I did feel like it was a bit of a risk, but I'm quite glad, like in hindsight, that obviously I took the risk, and for now at least I feel that I've made the right decision. So I just say sort of go with your gut, kind of don't be afraid to kind of apply for different things, and just go with like what you enjoy and what's going to interest you at the end of the day.